Hi class, in this video I am going to go over the best way how to navigate the course, and I am also going to go ahead and go over some of the important highlights from the syllabus. So as all of you know, this course is a summer class, which means that it is very fast-paced, and basically I had to condense 16 weeks into 5 weeks. So because of that, the best way to navigate the course is by going through modules. So you can click on modules, so you can access modules by clicking on the tab or by clicking on the link that I have on the home page. And once you go to the modules, you will see that I have them organized by week. So obviously for the first week, you want to go ahead and go over all of this information. And then I have the assignments that are due for that week. Now, something to keep in mind is that, for example, because it is such a short class, I had to assign the first essay during the first week. Now, this doesn't mean that it's due this week. It just means that you should read the instructions and start working on it because it's due June 12th. So just keep that in mind that, you want to make sure that you read the module and you look through it, and that way you understand that this is due June 12th instead of just looking at it and saying like, oh my gosh, I have to do the profile by the first week. No. The assignments that are due for that week are listed right here under assignments. But like I said, the profile essay, you should read the instructions for that essay during the first week because we want to get started with it as soon as possible. So as you can see, it is organized by week. And something to keep in mind, particularly when we get to the last week, like I said, all of them are organized by having the readings first and then having the assignments that are due for that week. Now, as you can see, for some weeks we have multiple assignments due just because it's a very fast-paced course. But for the last week, I do want to mention that we have several modules devoted to that week. So, for example, here are the readings in the assignment, but we're also going to get started on the research paper. Now, because the research paper is our final project and we don't have a final exam in this class, the research paper is our final assignment. It requires its own module. So that's why it's separate from the other week 5. So just keep that in mind that there's 2 modules for week 5. And also for finals week, that's when our research paper is due. And this class runs from May 25th through June 29th. So just keep that in mind that your final research paper is due June 29th. And that is the last day that I can accept any work. So like I was saying, because the research paper is such a big portion of our class, that one week 5 requires 2 modules, but also that research paper requires that you become familiar with APA. Now, I know a lot of you probably are familiar with APA because you learned about it in high school or in English 1110. So this class doesn't really go into a lot of detail about APA, but I do provide a module as a refresher. So this module is not assigned to a specific week, so you can refer to it whenever you want, but for sure, you want to refer to it when you're working on your research paper. That's why I put it right here after week 5, sort of as a continuation of something that you should go over during week 5 or before if you'd like. But just keep that in mind that week 5 entails the border culture module, the research paper module, the APA module as well. And this last module right here, it's the writing tools module. Now that one, it just basically consists of handouts and PowerPoints that could help you with your writing. This is a module that I also use in my composition classes. So if you have problems with comma splices, run-on sentences, I have a PowerPoint on sentence structure to help you. If you have issues with commas, definitely go ahead and look at this PowerPoint. When it comes to revising your essays, conclusions. So this one is really, like I said, it's not assigned during a specific week, but it's definitely there for you to look at it. So the best way to navigate the course is to look at the modules week by week, but also you want to make sure that you look at the syllabus and you want to make sure that you also look at the announcements, because every Monday I post an announcement that lets you know what we're reading for that week and also what is due for that week. So I sort of keep everything, I sort of summarize the whole week in that announcement. So definitely make sure that you don't just rely on the Canvas calendar, because I've had students who tell me that the Canvas calendar didn't notify them when an assignment was due. So like I said, the best way to navigate the course is through modules, but make sure you also look at the syllabus just to make sure that you get the right due date and that you don't miss any deadlines, because the syllabus, like I said, is it contains all of the assignments and all the due dates, and that's like the original document, so you want to make sure that you refer to that weekly. Now, going back to the modules, something I forgot to mention is that at the very top we have a mental health resources for DACC staff and faculty, and basically what this module is that it provides contact information for the DACC counselor and social worker. It is free to meet with them because you are a DACC student. And then over here we have some local resources for anybody who is going through a crisis, or if you need some mental health assistance. There's also information about a food pantry, so if you know anybody who is facing food insecurity, or if you yourself are facing food insecurity, it tells you how to get in contact with a food pantry. So there's a lot of resources here, and it's available for students but also the community. So if you know someone, definitely look at this module because it contains information that could help a member from the community. And like I said, if you're going through something, I know a lot of us are struggling with what's going on in the world and things like that. So definitely I encourage you to talk to the DACC counselor or social worker. They are there to help people, and it's free. So it's definitely something to take advantage of that. Something else that you want to look at, like I said, is the first module, and here we have some other things that you could go ahead and take advantage of, like for example, Office 365. If you don't have Microsoft Word, you can download it for free on up to 5 devices. So definitely make sure that you click on here if you don't have Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word can be very expensive, but because you are an NMSU student, you get Office 365 for free, and this includes Excel and PowerPoint. So definitely make sure that you click here so that you can take advantage of that. And then the rest of the module just basically contains some information about setting notifications on Canvas. I recommend that you set notifications for announcements and emails, and maybe also like your grades and assignments, just so you can keep up with communication in the course. And also so that you're reminded of when an assignment is coming up. And then, I do have like an etiquette guide and some Zoom information. So that takes care of the modules. Now let's go ahead and go to our home page. And something I do want to mention is that my office hours are available through Zoom. So the best way to contact me is through Canvas inbox if you have any questions. However, if you'd like to meet, contact me through email, and then we can set up a meeting during a time and day that works for both of us. And something else that I want to point out as we look at the syllabus is there are no required textbooks for this class, so you do not have to buy any textbook. All the readings are available online, either through a handout or through a link, and they are all available in the modules. So you do not have to buy a book or anything like that. So if we look at the syllabus, you definitely want to go ahead and look at the syllabus on your own. You want to make sure that you read the syllabus and know what the course is about, and basically just know what you're getting into, right? And this is a 22-21 course, so that means that all of you should have taken and passed English 1110. So this course mostly deals with the humanities and social sciences. So we're going to be reading some fiction, but we're also going to be reading some nonfiction articles as well. And this course deals with the border experience. And basically what that means is that this course tries to provide a view of what life is like on the border. As somebody who was born and raised on the border culture is very special to me. It's something that I really appreciate, and it's something that I've always loved, being from the border, because like I said, I was born and raised here. So when I designed and created this class, I wanted people to see the many aspects of the border. I think a lot of times the media portrays the border sort of in a negative light, and especially right now, the border has been in the news for a lot of reasons, particularly because of immigration. And, as someone who is born and raised on the border, I realize that immigration and smuggling and things like that are part of the border, but I also want people to see the culture and the music and the art and the people and how special that is. So that was my purpose for creating this class, so that people can see the many sides of the border and kind of gain a perspective of what it's like to live on the border, because the border culture is very unique, and I think a lot of people don't appreciate it because they don't understand it or because they're not familiar with it. So if you're from the border, you get it. If you're not from the border, hopefully this class can teach you a little bit about it and you can learn to appreciate the border culture. So moving on, all of this is information that you can go ahead and read on your own. I do want to mention that these are the assignments. We have 5 reader responses, 5 discussion questions, 1 essay, an annotated bibliography, and a final research paper. It is important that you keep up with the assignments just because this is a summer class, so obviously you don't ever want to miss assignments in any class, but when it comes to a summer class, because they're so fast-paced, you can't really afford to get behind on any assignment, because once you get behind, it's very difficult to catch up just because, like I said, they are very fast-paced. So this right here tells you a little bit more information about each assignment. The reader responses should be about one page to 1.5. You really don't want to make them longer than that because they should be very focused and to the point. And usually with the reader responses, I give you a prompt. Either you have to answer only one of those prompts or you have to answer a series of questions. So for the reader responses, please make sure that you read the instructions for each one very carefully because I ask different things depending on the reader response. And we are going to have 1 essay, and this is going to be the profile essay. The profile essay is going to be over a significant place in the El Paso area. So I realize that there are still a lot of restrictions, so obviously if you cannot visit a place physically, you can do research online to find information about this place. Now, the key with a profile essay is that you have to make sure you describe the place in vivid detail. So when you write this essay, try to not focus on yourself or your experience, but rather focus on describing the place in an interesting manner and with a lot of description and vivid detail. And there's more detailed instructions for the profile essay in the assignments and in the module. We also have 5 discussion questions. Now, when it comes to the discussion questions, you want to go ahead and do 2 things. So basically, the first thing is you want to reply to my discussion question, which is the main assignment. You want to make sure that you respond in a well thought out paragraph or 2 paragraphs. And you also want to make sure that you reply to 2 other people. So basically the way this works is your first response is due by Wednesdays, and then you have until Friday to respond to 2 people. And the assignment is going to show up as due on Wednesdays, but like I said, you have until Friday to reply to the 2 classmates. So as long as you submit your first response by Wednesdays, it'll show up as submitted on time. If you don't submit your first response by Wednesday, it'll show up as late. So you want to make sure that you submit your first response by Wednesdays, and then your second response, which is you replying to 2 classmates, by Fridays. And the reason why I have 2 due dates for the discussions is because sometimes there are people who want to finish their assignment early, or they're trying to get their assignments done during a specific time period, but they can't because there's nobody to reply to, because some people wait until the very last minute before the assignment closes to submit their assignments. So in order to avoid that, I have 2 due dates. So you want to make sure you submit your first response by Wednesday. That way people have somebody to reply to, and the discussion stays open till Fridays. And I do want to mention that the discussions are the only assignment that you cannot make up. because it's in a live forum. So even if you have an emergency or anything like that, the discussions cannot be made up because they require class interaction. And they close on Fridays, so you want to make sure you have your submissions posted by Fridays. Now, when it comes to the reader responses, those are due on Sundays, but I do leave them open until Monday, just in case any issues arise or anybody has like Wi-Fi problems or anything like that. But you want to make sure you don't wait until Monday, because if you submit it on Mondays, it's going to show up as late. So you don't want to fall into that habit of submitting it on Monday, because it could affect your grade, because it's going to be submitted late. Also, we have some quizzes, and the quizzes can only be taken once. So you want to make sure that the quizzes, that you don't open them or start them or anything like that until you're ready to take them. And these quizzes are very short. They're meant to be reading quizzes that just ask you about like the most important parts that I think you should remember. So the questions have to deal with like the important parts of the reading. And they are timed because, like I said, they're simple questions over the reading. So it's nothing too complicated, and quizzes are due on Fridays, but I do leave them open until Saturdays just in case something happens. And of course, we have the research paper, which is 5 to 7 pages, and it should be written over a border issue that interests you. And when I say border issue, I'm referring to the US-Mexico border. Just to give you some idea, this past semester I had some students write about immigration. I had some students write about the women of Juarez, the women who've been killed and abused. I also had some students write about the environment of the border. I've had some students write about education on the border. So really there's a lot of different topics that you can write about, because like I said, there's many issues that plague the border, and there's a lot going on right now, especially too with the border. So there's a lot of issues that you can write about. And the topic does have to be approved by me, so we do have an assignment where you have to do a topic proposal. And then I let you know if your topic is approved. So when it comes to classroom management, first of all, you want to make sure that all of your work is your own. Please do not plagiarize. I do use Turnitin, and that lets me know what percentage of your work is plagiarized, if at all. So you want to make sure that you are careful with that. Also, please keep in mind that you cannot submit work from another class in this class. I've had students who do that before, and the assignment shows up as plagiarized, and it tells me that it was submitted to New Mexico State. So the reason it says that is because they submitted that same essay for another class. You technically can't do that because it's a form of self-plagiarism. So you just want to make sure that everything you write for this class is original and it is your own work. Obviously, you can quote and you can use resources, but you just have to make sure that you cite them so that you don't get in trouble for plagiarizing. Also, you want to make sure that you have reliable access to a computer and to Wi-Fi. I do give you that extra day for most assignments just in case anything happens, but please keep in mind that not having internet connection or losing internet connection or computer malfunctions, they're not considered valid excuses, right? So also having to work, a lot of those things DACC does not accept as excused absences. So there's only so much that I can do on my part to allow you to make up certain assignments because of computer malfunctions, Wi-Fi issues, or because of work or anything like that. So you want to make sure that you have reliable access to internet connection. Also, you have a whole week to submit assignments. So obviously don't wait until the last minute. Try to submit things a little bit earlier, a few hours ahead of time, just in case something goes wrong. That gives you time to fix it. The assignments do close at 11:59, and once they close, they are closed. I do not accept late work, so you want to make sure that you keep track of the time and the due dates. Like I said, the assignment closes on Canvas at 11:59. Once it closes, you can't submit it anymore. So you want to make sure that you adhere to that. And just keep in mind that I don't accept late work unless it's some sort of emergency or unless there's some sort of serious issue going on. And of course, if there is, please let me know. Like I said, this is a summer class. It's very fast paced. So if there's anything that's going on, let me know as soon as possible so that we can try to make arrangements, so that we can try to set up some sort of schedule that works for you, you know, while you're going through this emergency or whatever the case might be. But I always tell my students, you know, we are running against the clock, right? So even if there is an emergency, I can technically only give you a certain amount of time because the semester ends, and once the semester ends, I have to submit grades, and after the semester ends, I can no longer accept late work or anything like that. So just please keep that in mind as well, that sometimes I can work with you and make arrangements, but sometimes the best option might just be to drop the class if there's no way that you can get back on track because of an emergency or something like that. So like I said, with situations like that, it's just better to talk to me about it so that we can try to figure something out. And of course, please make sure that you're respectful to everybody in this course. Like I said, there's many issues that plague the border, and a lot of them tend to be political. A lot of them tend to deal with human rights. So make sure that you express your opinion in a respectful manner, and also make sure that you're open to different opinions without feeling offended just because people don't agree with you. So it's important that we're open-minded and respectful of people's opinions. Of course, just make sure that your language is not hateful or racist or derogatory or anything like that. You know, please make sure that you express your opinion in a respectful manner. Also, I do want to mention something about language. There are a lot of our readings do utilize Spanish words. So if there's anything that you don't understand and you don't really want to look it up on Google or anything like that, because things tend to get lost in translation, you can always go ahead and contact me, and I can try to explain to you. I can try to translate it and try to give you the context so that you understand what it is. But for mostly everything, I try to have readings that even if they use Spanish words, you can still figure out what they mean. And then other readings do translate the words for you. So I don't think that there's anything that people won't be able to understand if you're not a Spanish speaker. But in case there's any words or you have any questions about certain things, please let me know and I can go ahead and explain them to you. Of course, we also have an etiquette for online classes, so definitely make sure you read this. And here we have the important dates, and here we have the schedule. So like I mentioned earlier, this is organized on a weekly basis. So here's what you have to read for week 1, and then here are the assignments. Week 2, and then here are the assignments that are due. And all of the assignments can be found on Canvas. So like I said, make sure you look at the syllabus, make sure you are keeping up with the due dates that are listed right here. And of course with the readings. Now if you're thinking, well, where do I find these readings, or you know, I'm not able to find the file, they are all under the module. So for example, for week 4, all of the readings are listed under the week 4 module as well as the assignment. So that concludes this video. Please let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, this is a very fast-paced course because I had to condense 16 weeks into 5 weeks. So if you have any questions, let me know as soon as possible. And I'm looking forward to working with you this summer.